Hi everyone, it's Holly and I haven't made one of these in a while. So I'm sure some of you that subscribe to my channel will have noticed that I haven't really been about so much for the last 6 months, maybe a year. So while I've been away, I have been having you guys asking me questions. You know that I do my Ask a Tattoo Artist series of videos. So I have had a few questions that I've been meaning to film answers to for the last few months and just haven't done it. So today is the day where I'm gonna film a bunch of videos and finally do the answers to the questions that you guys were asking me. So 2019 for me was a bit of a whirlwind of traveling and working away at conventions. I did mostly traveling for fun and I got to go to some pretty amazing places and see some really fun stuff. And as well as that, I was traveling for work, traveling to tattoo conventions. Last year I went and did the Luxembourg tattoo convention. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen all the updates and stuff I've been posting in my stories of my various travels sort of all around the world last year. So it didn't leave too much time left for making YouTube videos and I really missed it, so I'm glad to be back. So the question that I'm going to answer today is one that I was asked last night on Instagram. I posted a prompt on my Instagram story saying that I was going to be filming today and if anybody wanted to ask me a question that I would answer it. So bear with me because I have to look this up on my computer. And the one that I'm going to talk about today is by Tattoos by Moo, and they ask, creating art every day, even I'm reading this really badly. Let me start again. Tattoos by Moo says, creating art every day even when you don't feel up to it mentally. So I thought this would be an interesting one to answer, seeing as it's something that's been on my mind a lot as well, is how you can be creative kind of on tap. Because obviously tattoo artists, we are people, we are not machines. You kind of have to find your own formula of things that you do, even if it's maybe not your best day or if you've got other things going on in your life, to get that creativity back out of you again. I suppose creativity is different for everybody. I know some people really thrive on rush and being busy. I know I've worked with a couple of artists who they would do their best drawing first thing in the morning while waiting for customers to show up. I can't think of anything I'd rather do less than that. I like to have my drawings in a little folder or in my sketchbook ready for the appointment. If you guys follow my tattoo work, you'll know that a lot of the stuff I do is freehand, which means that I might not have necessarily done a proper drawing in preparation for the tattoo appointment, but I will have done a rough sketch usually, just so that when the person shows up for their appointment, I have something to show them, to give them a bit of an idea of the kind of tattoo they're going to be getting. So what I'm trying to say is different people have different ways of getting into the zone. I find I'm mostly at my most creative if I'm sitting and concentrating on what I'm doing, and usually the way that I can get myself into that frame of mind is to put on a podcast or listen to some music. I don't tend to like to work with a TV program or film in the background because I find it distracting. So I more like to listen to some kind of media that's not meant to be looked at, just listen to. That seems to work better for me. Likewise, if I work in absolute silence, sometimes that works really well for me, and then other times it doesn't work at all because I'm just alone with my thoughts and I start thinking, oh, what have I got to clean around the house? Oh, I need to send an email. Oh, what am I going to make for dinner? And almost procrastinating and not really just getting on with it and getting the work done that I need to do. Something that I've noticed in the last few months that really helps me with my creativity is printing out my reference pictures rather than looking at them on my phone. This is because I'm really bad at multitasking. My phone seems to ding all the time and I can't turn it off. So I understand that there's airplane mode that you can put on your phone. So right now I'm filming and I've got WhatsApp notifications coming up, and obviously I'm filming so I'm not really looking at the screen too much, but I do find that distracting day to day. I don't really understand how to turn it off. I've just preemptively gone into my WhatsApp and put the chats that go off the most on mute, but it's still going off. So if anybody out there has got a tip for how I can make it so my phone just doesn't ping with notifications all the time, that would be really helpful, because I'm not very tech savvy. So sometimes it means that you can't completely get into the zone because, like I said, I'm not good at multitasking or switching quickly between tasks. I tend to work best when I'm just concentrating on one thing. That's my focus, and that's the only thing that I'm doing. So there's some instances like this where you can do little mental tricks to get yourself in the zone, whether that's listening to a certain music, lighting a certain candle, sitting in a particular room. There's ways that you can do it that you can almost trick your brain into, okay, well, now it's creative time and I need to get on with it. And you kind of need to find your own formula for that. I know what works for me. What works for me wouldn't necessarily work for other people. The other thing that I have found does work for me is if I'm struggling to come up with ideas and drawing isn't coming so naturally to me or isn't flowing as well as I would like it to, I stop what I'm doing and I go and do something else, because I find that really helps me once I'm not thinking intensively about what it is that I'm doing and go away and think about something else. Quite often that's when a bit of inspiration will strike and suddenly ideas will come. So there's some instances like this where you can do little mental tricks to get yourself in the zone, whether that's listening to a certain music, lighting a certain candle, sitting in a particular room. There's ways that you can do it that you can almost trick your brain into, okay, well, now it's creative time and I need to get on with it. And you kind of need to find your own formula for that. I know what works for me, but what works for me wouldn't necessarily work for other people. The other thing that I have found does work for me is if I'm struggling to come up with ideas and drawing isn't coming so naturally to me or isn't flowing as well as I would like it to, I stop what I'm doing and I go and do something else, because I find that really helps me once I'm not thinking intensively about what it is that I'm doing and go away and think about something else. Quite often that's when a bit of inspiration will strike and suddenly ideas will come. So the other element that I'm reading into this question is, how are we supposed to do our best creatively when we're not feeling at our best mentally? And I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anybody that there is a link between creative types and mental health. We tend to struggle a bit more, I would say, than the average, for want of a better word, person. I think it's because if you're creative, the other side of that tends to be you notice the finer details in things. You're maybe a bit more sensitive. You're maybe a bit more emotionally literate. And the downside of that can be that the world gets overwhelming at times. And I suppose really the real crux of the question is looking after yourself and doing self-care routines that have got nothing to do with tattooing. So I think it is important that we take time to look after ourselves. So I hope that was a helpful answer to the question. Like I said, it's really nice to be back and making videos for YouTube again. It's nice to see you all, so if you've missed me, give me a little wave in the comments. I'm going to be filming more of these in the next few weeks, so if you have a question for me, please ask me in the comment section or send me an email. That's about it. I'm going to leave a link here for my shop and my Instagram so you can have a look at my tattoo work. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.